Today we'll be talking about staircases and balustrades. So building circulation, a lot of building circulation happens around staircases, lifts and escalators are also part of building circulation, but today we'll be focusing around staircases. So the beautiful staircase. Staircases happen to be one of my most favorite elements of buildings. I believe that staircases are that kind of sculptural element that can really add beauty to a space. If you take a look at this room, without the staircase, the only other real sculptural element in this room is probably the ceiling. And so I just feel like this staircase really brings the whole room into a state of character and beauty that wouldn't have been the same without it. This is an example of a building in Hong Kong, and an example of the balustrades and the handrails that they used in this building. What I loved about this balustrade was that it is very simple and yet very effective, and the handrail I love because it's kind of like a carving into the building, as opposed to many handrails which are kind of these protruding elements. I also love the profile that allows your fingers to kind of fit around the handrail itself, and so your hand kind of slips into the building when you're walking up the stairs. And you know, I really believe that even though this is something that is necessary according to regulation, a handrail and a balustrade, if we are creative enough, we can really do beautiful things with the regulations that are required. This is also just two other examples of staircases and balustrades that I think just work so beautifully in a sculptural way, in a beautiful way. So in what ways do the following differ from each other if we start looking at staircases, stair terminology? Staircases and stairs, what's the difference? It says, as nouns, the difference between staircase and stair is that staircase is a flight of stairs, while a stair is a single step in a staircase. And in stairways and stairwells, what's the difference? A stairway is a set of steps or stairs and its surrounding walls or structure, while a stairwell is a shaft in a building in which a staircase is built. Just to talk a little bit about some terminology. The pitch of the stair is the line, the angle of the line, which is formed once you draw a vertical, or let's say a 45 degree or a degree angle to the tops of where the nosing of the stairs is. The going is from the edge of one nosing to the edge of another nosing. The nosing itself is the part that protrudes, and I'll talk a little bit about what the purpose of a nosing is just now. And then the total rise is from the one landing, or let's say from the start of the stair to the other landing. Okay, in this case it's over here, but if the stairs ended here, this would be the total rise. But the total rise is from the one landing to the absolute top of the other landing. And then the overhang is the part of the nosing that creeps over from the riser. The riser is the part of the stair that goes up, and the tread is the part of the stair that goes across. And then the going of the stairs is from the one nosing to the very final tip of the other nosing. So the whole point of having a nosing or having a step overhang is that your foot doesn't dirty the edge of the step or ruin the edge of your shoe. And the ability for you to be able to put your foot snugly into a little opening makes the stair much more comfortable to walk along. And so that is why nosings are created. You can have a slanted step which incorporates the nosing, or you can have an actual nosing which steps back into 30 degrees and allows just the back of your heel to slip into that little part there. That's all a part of ergonomics and how to make the actual stair itself as comfortable as possible to walk on. As always, you can now just pause this video and go to your PDF slides and click this link. It will talk a little bit about staircase terminology and touch on a few things that I didn't touch on in the previous slide. All right, so in South Africa, you know that we have SANS 10400 that dictates to us what is a regulation. Now we also have a part M in the staircase in the SANS 10400, which talks to staircase regulations in particular. And in this SANS 10400 part M, these are the dimensions that they give for a good, comfortable staircase and the boundaries about which staircases need to be created. And so according to regulation, the actual tread itself needs to be 250 millimeters minimum. When there is an open riser, there needs to be a 25 millimeter nosing overhang. All right. And then the maximum riser from tread to tread is to be 200 millimeters. This is not the most comfortable step. The most comfortable step has got a 300 millimeter tread with a 170 millimeter riser. Why do we use 170 millimeters? We use 170 millimeters because one brick is 85 millimeters and another brick is 170 millimeters. So that means that when you build a step out of bricks, you can build a very comfortable set of steps with every step being 2 bricks in height. Okay, that's also very savvy in terms of material saving. And then according to SANS, the ceiling height at any point in your staircase needs to be a minimum of 2.1 meters. Staircases also have to have a distance from left to right when you're walking up it, and that minimum distance according to regulation is 900 millimeters between the wall and the balustrade. All right, so we're not talking from wall to wall. We're talking from, if there's a wall on the one side of the stair and there's a balustrade on the other, it's from the wall to the balustrade. If there are balustrades on both sides, it's from balustrade, the inside of the balustrade, to the other side, inside of the balustrade. This is just some other regulations that you guys will need to know. So any landing serving 2 flights in the same straight line shall. Right? 2 flights in the same straight line. So you go up 1 flight, you land, you go up a 2nd flight, you land. Have a length of not less than 900 millimeters. That's from left to right. And have, this is the landing, sorry. All right, so there's also regulation that talks to the landing itself. So when you walk up the stairs, you get to a flat part, which then leads you to another set of stairs. That flat part that allows you to rest is called the landing. Now, according to regulation, when you have 2 flights of steps, the landing itself has to have a length of not less than 500 millimeters. That means when you arrive on the top step, the space in front of you that you land on is 900 millimeters from your body to where the other wall is in front of you. And the width needs to be not less than that of the 2 flights together. So if your one flight is 900 millimeters from left to right, and then you turn the corner and it's 900 millimeters again, then the flights together must be, that landing from left to right needs to be 1800 millimeters. And then no flight of stairs shall have a vertical rise greater than 3 meters between landings. From the bottom to the very top, the vertical rise cannot be greater than 3 meters without a landing. So handrails and balustrades. There is always the 1 meter rule when it comes to handrails. There is always the 1 meter rule according to SANS when it comes to handrails and balustrades. That means from where the handrail or the balustrade floor is, it needs to be 1 meter to the top of that handrail or to that balustrade. Here are some great handrail profiles off the New Fit book. I find them quite useful to have because it gives you an idea of the different types of handrails that can be used. One thing that I think is important to note is the ability to be able to clutch around, to tuck your fingers between the wall and the actual handrail, the handrail. So this handrail over here, if this piece was not going into the handrail on the side and it was going into the handrail, if it wasn't going into the handrail at the bottom and it was going into the handrail at the side, then you wouldn't be able to tuck your fingers around nicely. Every time that you pulled your hand down, your finger would knock into that piece that's positioning it against the wall. And so that's why they position this fixing underneath at the bottom of the actual handrail. And you'll see that all of them are designed to allow you to tuck your fingers around each of these. Makes it incredibly comfortable to use. And then different types of stairs. What different types of stairs do we have? We have the 90-degree flat turn stair, which most of us are very aware of, especially in school. And then we have the short radius stair, which is like continuous. It's a continuous walking stair, which kind of slows down the corners. The large radius stair, which is rounded on the edges. And then we also have this flat turn, which is a full landing and then up again. When I was talking about the landing itself, it means from this point to where the wall is, that minimum 900 millimeters. And from here to here needs to be the minimum of these two stairs combined. All right. And then you get the short radius, which is where you kind of slow down around the edge, but you continue rising. And the large radius, which is rounded. Okay. And this last one over here is the double 90-degree flat turn, where you walk up, you rest, you walk up, you rest, and you carry on. And over here, you're continuously going all the time. You slow down on the corners, but you're continuously moving upwards. And then, of course, the large radius is where you walk up and then you come around. This can also be a completely circular staircase, which are very beautiful. All right, and then this last little clip, which I greatly suggest that you watch, is just a combination of some beautiful staircases to give you guys an idea of just how incredibly sculptural staircases can be. So please take just a little bit of extra time on this lecture and click the link on your PDF and just feast your eyes on some really beautiful eye candy in terms of staircases and what they can be used for and how they can really add beauty to a space. And that is the end of today's lecture. I hope that you've enjoyed it, and I will see you guys in class.